Cool. Well, we're talking about self-love.
The flow of it, yeah.
So the question I was thinking of was, were you taught how to love yourself, or did you have to learn how?
Ooh, yeah. I had to do all that learning by myself. It's interesting that you even asked. That's a question. That's a good question. Um, I don't ever remember my parents like really saying like love yourself or showing me how to love myself. And the reason why I say that is because there was a point in my life, my parents had split, and I think that's where a lot of like trauma had kind of happened for me, seeing my parents split and then not having them really around. So I was kind of doing my own thing, being rebellious because of their divorce, and that was a hard time. I was really all over the place in high school. I didn't really take anything seriously. I just wanted to have fun, you know? But with that, there was, I started to rebel and I started just partying. I feel like everyone does that, but now that I look back on it, it was just me trying to suppress what was going on with my family. And with that, kind of losing attention for myself. So, that's interesting. Through the years, I've learned that I've developed a pattern, you know, this like kind of crazy lifestyle of like going out, drinking, and not caring about myself, really. And kind of flipping that around this last year, like total 360, and really taking the time to honor myself and be myself and take care of my body and take care of my mind and take care of everything that I have. Bringing more attention to myself instead of to everyone else. So it's been a long journey.
Sounds yeah. Well, damn, that's a nice background there. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like it.
So what's it like now? Like how do people know if self-love isn't there? Like if we're talking about self-love here, how is someone going to know like, oh, that's something I need? Or how do they know that's something that they have? Right? How did you know that there was room for growth in that area?
Oh, I just felt like there was something missing.
Mm.
I I couldn't say that I was truly happy. I would go out and hang out with friends and just do like nonsense. And I mean, all great times. Like they're all good times and I don't have any regrets with anything. However, this lifestyle that I was living, going out drinking a lot. I'm bringing out a lot of drinking. I drank a lot. But it was a huge shift for me because noticing what you put into your body, like alcohol, the foods, the thoughts, everything that you bring into yourself, really picks an effect. And I feel like in the last 6 months, that's really stepped up for myself, with noticing, you know what, like maybe all of these things aren't bringing like more value into my life, or they're not making me, I didn't feel like I was growing. I just felt stuck. And I was like, this is not, like, my soul just knows this is not me. Like, I deserve more. I deserve to have a lot more. And what I'm doing is just keeping me in one spot. And no, like, I want more. So that's where it's like, I value myself and I'm going to step up. And that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So good.
I love that because you said it didn't feel like you. And I really resonate with that because it's those moments in time where you feel this. It is almost like a lack or an emptiness. I call it a numb feeling. It's when I get into this state without that ecstatic energy and thrive and passion for life. It's almost holding back. And to feel that state and know that that's not where you need to be because it doesn't feel like you. And then you start doing these little things that are honoring self-love, like doing what makes you happy or like touching yourself and feeling your body. And you feel this sensation of you. Like, oh, there's me. Oh, this is me. Okay, I got it. This is me. And you really feel this honoring of your journey and stepping into what makes you happy and what your message is for the world and what your passion is for the world.
Yeah, I had that exact feeling a little bit over just a month ago. I was getting ready for school and I was just changing like clothes and I looked in the mirror and I was like naked. I was just like for the first time looking at myself in the mirror and just falling in love with myself. Like every curve. And I was just admiring myself, and I've never had that before. And I was just like, wow, I love you.
Yeah.
And it was the best feeling. I was just like, wow. So that feeling that really resonates. And that's when this last month has been such a like blast of growth for me on the self-love journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it feels right. Everything's feeling aligned because I'm aligning with myself and my passions and my strive of wanting more and doing more for myself. Yeah.
Was it awkward at first when you looked in the mirror and said I love you, right? Because that was a pretty awkward practice for me at first because I came from critical thoughts when I looked into the mirror. Like that was the first thing that would happen, would be critical thoughts. And then over time, really in the last few years, I shifted towards looking at myself in the mirror and automatically saying, I love you. Like this is me. And I think that's an important practice for people is the mirror. Like what happens when you look into the mirror? What are the thoughts that are coming up? That shows you a state of where you are in your mind.
Oh yeah, totally. It was a little odd at first. I was like, it's just me just talking to myself, but it when I really looked into my eyes and just the smile, I just felt good. And I was like, you know what? I feel great. I feel amazing. I look good. I'm taking care of myself. And you know what? I anyone would be lucky to like have me around too. Like and so that's where it was like, okay, I actually have to do this more often. I have to acknowledge that a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good practice. It definitely is a good practice.
It is. It's the little things that I'm really noticing about self-love. It's the little moments. It's the moments where if I drop something and then automatically am I going towards like, oh, why did you drop that? Or is it automatically just like, oh, who cares? Whatever. I messed up. Like I dropped something. And it's this lightheartedness and this like giggle that I feel is really helping me along the self-love journey because it's relaxing.
It's like, why take ourselves so seriously? Like, laugh at yourself. Like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I like do like I do some weird shit, like, or like weird ideas come in my head, and I kind of just laugh because I'm just like, what? Why am I thinking this? And it's just, I think for a long time I did take myself really seriously, and I've just learned to just laugh and just not be too hard on myself. Like, what's the point of being hard on yourself? There's no room for that. I mean, yeah, like motivate yourself and make sure you're on your butt to do things, but if we all make mistakes, but we learn from them.
Yeah. Let's see if I can explain this. So, when I was in my strongest phase of being hard on myself, I created all of these rules that I thought were giving me freedom, that I thought were giving me self-love. And it was like a matter of what I was eating, or, the daily affirmations that I was doing. I was putting myself into such a box of structure that I would be too hard on myself if I went outside of that structure. So the rules that I thought were keeping me, quote unquote, like in check and in that realm of self-love, were actually the rules that were impeding my full potential of self-love. So it's like we're hard on ourselves because maybe we feel like helping, and it's helping the situation, and actually it's what's hindering our situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have a fucked up mentality for sure. And when I came out of it, I was like, the rules that I thought I was playing to keep me in the game or to get me out of the game were the exact rules that were keeping me in the game of like self-loathing and self-sabotage. Ugh.
Completely. It's so, our mind's so tricky. Our mind is so plays so many tricks on us. Sometimes we just gotta take a moment and just breathe. Sorry, my phone was dying. I'm charging it up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Paradox indeed. So we love ourselves, right? We're learning how to be by ourselves and to love ourselves and to fully accept who we are to the core of our being and, what we're presenting to this world. And then what? Now, coming from that space, when we connect to other people, what's that like? So what do other people show us about self-love?
I think everyone is a mirror, really. And the moment you start to place any judgment or look at somebody with certain eyes, it's like, what is that saying about myself? And so it always comes back to you. And I feel like I've grown from that too, like acknowledging that and just trying to love people fully every time. There was this quote that I saw the other day on Insta, and it says, actually, David, I think you posted this. It says, check all your relationships. Some are not soul connections. They are attachment you created to fill in a void in your soul left by low self-esteem, lust, fear, and loneliness. The current shift requires elevation and self-love before you find love. And from that, it's funny because I was going through this kind of like this integration of learning this pattern that I do with guys that I've liked or anything. I create this attachment to people, and it really is to maybe fill that void. I'm like searching for something to fill that happiness within me. And the more that I keep searching, the more I break my own heart. So it's like I've been doing it to myself. And that I was just like, oh, that's interesting. I've been doing this whole time. So these connections with others, I feel that they're just really, you learn from them. You learn from everybody that you connect with. You can always learn from someone. And it just helps you grow. This journey of self-love is like never ending. And when you connect with, when you find someone that you really connect with, they're just teaching you. They're gonna trigger you. if it's a mirror, if you're looking at them at a mirror and they trigger you, then it's like, okay, that's good. And then if you acknowledge it, that's even better because you can learn from it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. To acknowledge, because we can let people trigger us all we want, and then we can point the finger at them. And my friend and I, we say PTSD, point the finger disorder, because they're just like, oh, they triggered me. And really, it's like they're an opportunity for us to see the inside of us. So the reason that trigger is coming up, it has nothing to do with them at all.
Everything to do with them.
Towards someone and a judgment comes up, that's me. That has nothing to do with them. And that mirror, and like you said, when we recognize it and we acknowledge it, that's the true leverage for growth, because we're becoming the observer of our thoughts rather than just being led by our emotions and our thoughts and our past conditionings.
Oh, yeah.
And when we have those, like what the quote said, if we have some of those relationships that are bringing in those other negative emotions,
mm-hmm.
This is where it really is time to hone in on like what it means to you to be relating to someone and how you want your relatings to go. And even if it's someone that you've had in your life for so many years, what is the relationship bringing you? What is it allowing you to recognize about yourself that you can heal from? Or what is it allowing you to recognize that you don't need and doesn't serve you and you can really step away from?
Yeah, I like that you said that, because some of the thoughts that come up is fear for me. It's like I would start talking to somebody or be in this relationship with a guy, and again, comes back to that attachment of wanting them to be there, to fulfill my happiness, but the fear is of them like not being there. Mm-hmm. So the void is, I'm not giving that I'm not fulfilling myself first, because I am 100% complete first. And before, I guess it's not that I wasn't, but I just didn't see that yet.
What did you see?
Now what did I see? I felt like I was happy. I felt like I was complete in happiness, but in reality, I don't think I was. But I was always looking for someone else out there to fulfill me. Yeah. And now it's completely different, because now I'm in this space where it's like, oh, okay, if you want to get to know me, that's cool, but like really, really get to know me. And I just don't have like the patience for some of the guys I used to date. Like, I see guys differently too. Like, now I remember I used to like go into like a room or like go anywhere, and love you, safe travels, David.
David,
see you in the jungle. We're going to the jungle. I used to look at guys and pretty much kind of see like, okay, who's the potential, you know, who's I would always already start thinking about who I could, I don't know, start talking to, I guess, or like just kind of like sexualize guys too, like, oh, they're really hot, like I want to get to know them and see what happens there. And so now my relationships with guys and the view of them have also changed. I don't go in with that mindset anymore. I go in with like, he's just another guy. Like, yeah, there's attractions that you have. Like, you're like, oh, he's very handsome, but it's changed for me. And I like that it's changed, because I'm not searching for it. And I see everyone as a friend. Like, they're just a person. Like, I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're about. So how can I even put, like, how can I even put these kind of eyes on them if I don't know what they're about? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you're coming from a space of wholeness now. Like your cup's full. So you're not looking, and I'm the same way. It's like we're not looking in this dehydrated state. We are hydrating ourselves enough so that when we see people, we can allow that space to be there. And instead of it going immediately into like a dream world and, you know, what, oh, it could be this, it could be this. It's like really being in the moment and being in that current relating state and tuning into that and noticing that we're not needing anything. We're not empty without these things, that we are full and we're whole and we're love. And we love ourselves enough to really give ourselves the space and the commitment to the relationships that we want in life. We won't end up with these like toxic relationships all over the place, because we all have boundaries, right? And we all have these boundaries that people either meet or they don't meet. And it's not because of them, it's because of us. And so when we notice what our boundaries are and how and who we're letting into our life, we can adjust those boundaries if there's a more potential state. Okay, if you keep attracting the same type of person.
Hello. I was just thinking that. I was like, it's like the law of attraction. What are you putting out? What kind of energy are you putting out there? And before I was putting up some like some energy like, hey, I want to get to know everybody. And now it's like, no, it's special. It's super special. And being that whole and completeness, it's only on its way. And that person, whoever's out there for us, are just as whole and complete as well, because that's what we're attracting. And it's beautiful and it's exciting, because now it's like, you know what? I can wait. I can be patient, and I will.
It's such an interesting story. Like, I am 27 and I've never had a relationship. Like, I've never had that label with someone as boyfriend, girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Because a huge part of me has been honoring that, the being patient for something special, the not settling. Yeah, there's the other half that wasn't letting people in, for sure. Like, there's two sides of the story. And, you know, when I was like 18 years old and hadn't had a boyfriend yet, people are like, oh, it's okay. You know, it'll find you. Don't look around for it. So I'm like, okay, cool. It'll happen soon. And then like 19, 20, 21. And around my early 20s, I started really to get into loneliness. Mm-hmm. And I was really sad about it, that I hadn't had the opportunity to connect with someone male at such a deep level. And throughout the years, really learning what that means and what my definition of aloneness is has been so rewarding. And now that I'm 27 and have had that experience, I know that when I do get into something, it's going to be so special, because I'm coming from wholeness. Yeah. And I'm not coming from someone who's lonely and needs someone to fill my bubble. It's like, no. Yeah. I'm already full, and we're adding to it. And so if somebody's in a state of feeling, you know, loneliness, how can they feel about it? You know, what's a good reframe to the word I like? That's why I like the reframe of loneliness to aloneness, because there's a difference between being lonely and then accepting aloneness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when maybe like a few years ago, I've always been very independent, and I love my solitude. Like, I like being on my own. I like taking myself out. But there was a point where I also was like, man, there's no one's coming by. No one, I haven't like met anyone or anything, and so it got a little tricky because I think that's when I started seeking out. That's when I started getting aloneness and loneliness mixed up. And yeah, wow, I'm just like realizing that now. Probably a few years ago, like three years ago. I definitely started searching for that in people. And when I started to realize that I wanted more and for myself, because who's gonna if no one's showing up, I have to do it. So I started writing. I actually had found a couple journals the other day, and I started writing, and I have some stuff in there where it's like, okay, I think this is where I really started to acknowledge where I was at and just write down why I was feeling that way, why was I feeling alone, and what I wanted. Like, what did I want to start manifesting into my life? What was I searching for, and why didn't I have it? So it's been interesting. I like that difference of aloneness and loneliness.
And they can get mixed up sometimes, like you said. I for sure have had moments where they get real mixed up. Even recently, you know, I go into my dips of letting myself feel past patterns of loneliness. And the biggest thing to recognize is that I allow myself to go into that. And loneliness is me separating myself from everyone. It's when I don't reach out to groups of friends. It's when I don't go to, you know, Wake Tribe. It's when I choose to be loneliness. Community is so important, and finding friends and people, because romantic relationships aside, relationships in general, is an opportunity to step out of the loneliness feeling. And I'm like you, I'm so independent. I mean, I love being alone.
Yeah.
10 years of it got a little too much, where I was like so happy to be alone, but then I realized like I isolated. I stepped away, and I didn't really know how to interact with relationships again.
Yeah.
It became a problem. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. For me, it became a problem because I spent too much time alone.